Is your broker out to get you? Hi, it's Charlie giving you Wednesday's video. I hope you're very well. One thing that we as traders experience a lot of the time, or have to experience, is um, that whole world of uncertainty. Uncertainty with regards to the outcome of our trades. And that uncertainty can cause us, especially newer traders who have only been trading for maybe up to a few years, to look externally for things for answers to why things haven't gone according to plan. So what traders often do is they embrace a blame culture, a blaming process, whether they're blaming the plunge protection team, whether they're blaming, Jerome Powell at the Federal Reserve, whether they're blaming, a news report which has come out strong, but the market's gone and reversed and gone the other way. They want to blame external factors, when really, as traders, we can't be blaming anyone. We don't even have to blame ourselves, because there are lots of losing trades which are absolutely fine trades. They just didn't work out. It's very difficult for a lot of newer traders to understand that a losing trade is not necessarily a bad trade. It can very often be a good trade which didn't work out, i.e., all the setup was there if it's a given strategy, but we know that not 100% of the time our strategy is going to work. So what we do find is this blame culture. So I want to delve into that a little bit today, because we get traders who will blame the number one source that traders will blame is their broker. So, and to an extent, that's probably not a bad thing. But I saw a comment a week or so ago talking about how a broker can result a bad, trading with brokers, it can result in liquidating your accounts, and that is absolutely not true. Unless you're trading with a broker out of the back of Beyond, a broker cannot be responsible for a trader's account blowing up. I'll explain why accounts blow up in a minute. It's not to do with your broker. What your broker can do, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of brokers out there who will create a little bit of extra slippage on your orders, so that can cost you. Yes, absolutely. So a bit of slippage here and there on your orders. Maybe they even widen spreads at times. Just as you're taking a trade, they widen the spread. So again, they capture a little bit more out of your trade. Now, this isn't all brokers. These are the things that the bad brokers do. And they might also spike prices down to capture your stop as well. So you might have a stop down here, and a broker might push their prices. The market might have only come to here, let's say, but they push their prices down that little bit lower to capture your stop loss down here. So these are all genuine things that can happen with some brokers, not all, which is why in the main we want to be trading with non-market making brokers. So a market maker broker tends to have a vested interest in you not always performing so well. So if they can stop you out by pushing their prices an extra few points to capture your stop loss level, then they might do that. Or their systems, they haven't necessarily got someone sat there doing it, the systems might do it. They're not actually moving the market though. People get this really wrong. Brokers can't move the market itself. The market's way too big for a broker to be pushing the prices around. What the broker can be doing is moving its own internal prices around. If it's a market making broker, like I said, if your trades are just going onto your broker's own book, then it's a bit like you going to Las Vegas and you sit there at the table and you are essentially trading against the casino. That casino most of the time will be paying out. But it's reliant on the fact that, and much like brokers, they'll be paying you out happily. but they know that people are going to make mistakes, and sometimes some more scrupulous brokers will do some of these things up here to get a bit of extra money out of you. But that's not going to result in you blowing up your account. These are just extra little bits that even some of these worse brokers do, which can result in them making more money out of you, but it's not going to result in you blowing up an account. So there are better brokers out there, and I know I'm going to open a can of worms now, because people are going to say, "Oh, Charlie, which broker should I use?" If you're trading with a broker in a jurisdiction such as Northern Europe, some of the American brokers are fine, Australia, then there's lots of good brokers to choose from, and especially if you have a direct market access broker. Okay, so if you have a direct markets access broker, your trades are being filtered through into the market. That broker has no vested interest in you losing. They are filtering your trades through as a collective into the market. So they are genuinely just making their money on the commissions that are generated from your trading activity. So anyway, how do people lose money? So go about blowing up their accounts. Well, the obvious one, we know it comes back down to leverage. But what I'm going to do is give you an example here, because there was a comment recently about another comment about someone saying, "Oh, I make money. I make money a lot of the time. I'm profitable a lot of the time." I think the comment was, but now and again, I have some big losses. And they were talking about trading around news or whatever. The problem with that is it's not the news event. The reason you're having bigger losses is because you must be trading differently around news events. It's got nothing to do with the news events itself. So the reason, let me give you an example here. So let's take this as price. This is a price move going on here. So I'm just literally making this up for what sort of thing that goes on out there in the market itself. So price has gone up a bit. It's maybe pulled back a little bit, and a trader gets in here. And then they go underwater. They don't use stop losses because so many traders around the world don't use stop losses. It goes underwater. Once price comes back up into a bit of profit, they bank. And they're like, phew, at least I got out there. And maybe they bank a little bit higher or whatever. But essentially, compared to how much they were underwater, they're not actually, they're banking money, and but in relative terms, it's not as much as they were carrying when they were underwater. However, with this type of approach, maybe they get in a bit again over here, go in a bit underwater, or right, oh, we're back into profit, right, let's get out over here. So they can have lots of winning trades that way. So they can have a higher win rate because a lot of the time the market will come back and it will get back to their break even or back into profit. And so a trader will merrily go along trading like that, and they're thinking that they've got a good approach to trading. And then occasionally, though, what will happen is the market won't turn back up around like that. It will carry on going down, and it might then come back up from a deeper point, and then they end up just saying, oh, that'll do, I'm coming out here, and they'll take a larger loss. So what they do is they have plenty of winners and then a larger losing trade. So, and then they'll have plenty of and so it eats into the winners that they've had, or maybe they have two large losers, and then that's taken out the entirety of the prior winners. But what they see, what they associate, is that they're focused on this, the fact that they're right a lot more often than they're wrong. So they think that it must be an external force that's creating this. Oh, it's market makers out to get me. It's some form of conspiracy. It's a stop hunt. It's all this language you hear traders using. The only reason you've had these bigger losses is because you're not using stop losses. That's the reason. And actually, it may be that if you had a stop loss here, that your entire approach then may not be profitable at all. So the very fact that you might have a higher win rate, it might actually be that your system or your approach is flawed. Even if you did start using stop losses, you might find that yes, you're going to have smaller stops, so they're going to be similar sort of size to the winners, but actually you end up having more stop outs, and it just means that your approach then isn't going to work at all. So then you've got to go back to the drawing board and find an entirely different way to trade. So so what a lot of traders do is they cling on to the fact that they have these higher number of wins by having either no stops or very, very wide stop losses, because they're still associating trading with being right as much as possible. And they don't want to have to start putting stop losses in, because they put stop losses in, what happens is they start getting stopped out more often. So the win rate declines, and they don't want that. And it might actually mean that they can't be profitable at all. But they're not being profitable with this. It's just that they're being more profitable for more of the time, but then occasionally they get a big setback when they have those bigger losers come in. So in the long run, they're still not making any money, but all they end up doing is blaming their brokers, blaming, like I said, an external event such as a central bank announcement or a news announcement or whatever it might be. So coming back to my original point is your broker out to get you? Well, it could be, but it's highly unlikely that a broker can make you blow up your account. The only person that can make you blow up your account is you and the amount of risk that you're taking on. Now, that can come in two forms. Either you're risking too much per trade, maybe you're risking 20% of your entire account on a single trade, or maybe you're just not using stop losses and things like that, in which case your risk is going to get out of control. So that's the only way that you blow up an account, not a broker. Like I said, there's plenty of bad brokers out there, and they may clip you here and there for extra costs and charges, and they'll do all those sorts of things. That won't result in a blown up account. Only you can do that. So have a look at your entire approach to your trading. If you find that you're going sideways in your P&L, your overall P&L is going sideways, or maybe just drifting its way down, maybe not doing terribly, but it's drifting its way down, have a look at your entire approach, because a lot of people look at the losing trades and they think that's where the work is involved, in looking at the losses. In fact, sometimes it's within the winners where the problem is. And in fact, the entire approach needs to be chucked in the bin. So it's horrible to have to go through that, but I've seen this time and time again with people who say, yeah, but I'm right a certain amount of 60% of the time, Charlie, I'm right. Yeah, I know, but your entire approach is flawed. Because when you are wrong, you lose too much. And you can't have that 60-70% winners without having those occasional much, much bigger losers. So your entire system needs to be chucked in the bin. These are the questions that sometimes we have to ask. So there you go. Is your broker out to get you? Maybe a little bit, but only to capture some extra commission here and there and a bit of slippage. The only person who's going to blow up an account is you. Look after the risk and you'll be fine. But hopefully that's given you some food for thought in today's video.